In the world of WWE, where brotherhood is forged through brutal battles, nothing cuts deeper than the moment a friend, a trusted ally, turns their back in betrayal. From shocking chair shots and furious glares to those heart-stopping seconds when entire arenas fall silent, tag team breakups have always been the spark that transforms partners into enemies and heroes into tragedies. These moments aren't just etched into WWE history, they're forever engraved in the hearts of fans around the world. Today, let's revisit the most heartbreaking tag team breakups in WWE history. Let's get started. Wrestling Sphere, go! 1. The Rock and Sock Connection, when brotherhood turned into a deep cut. During the wild and unpredictable Attitude Era, few partnerships were as unforgettable as the unlikely duo of The Rock and Mankind. On one side stood the Great One, arrogant, charismatic, and radiating star power even before his Hollywood days. On the other was Mankind, eccentric, genuine, and fiercely dedicated, a man who would endure any amount of pain just to entertain the fans. Their personalities couldn't have been more different, yet that very contrast created an incredible chemistry that captivated audiences week after week. The Rock and Sock Connection wasn't just another tag team, they were a phenomenon. With 3 tag team championship reigns, they delivered countless iconic moments, from surprising teamwork inside the ring to hilarious backstage segments where Mankind constantly sought the approval of his cool, often dismissive partner. Despite coming from 2 completely different worlds, the energy they generated together electrified arenas every time they entered the stage. But like many partnerships in WWE, the spotlight eventually revealed cracks beneath the surface. When Mankind proudly gifted The Rock a copy of his autobiography, he only hoped for a simple gesture of gratitude from his friend. Instead, The Rock casually tossed it into the trash, a moment so small yet so devastating that it shattered Foley's heart. The hurt and betrayal were too much for Mankind to bear. Feeling disrespected and disillusioned, he refused to continue defending their titles, marking the end of one of WWE's most unique and heartfelt alliances. From that moment, the Rock and Sock Connection became nothing more than a bittersweet memory, a reminder that even in a world built on strength and loyalty, friendship can crumble with a single careless act. 2. The Hardy Boys, when brotherhood became an unhealable wound. In WWE history, few tag teams have captured fans' hearts quite like the Hardy Boys. From their death-defying ladder dives to their fearless, high-risk style, Matt and Jeff Hardy redefined what it meant to be daredevils in wrestling. They weren't just partners, they were real-life brothers, 2 dreamers from North Carolina who rose together to conquer the WWE stage. But that very bond of blood also made every betrayal between them cut far deeper than any ordinary rivalry. Their first real fracture came in 2002, when jealousy and pride began to creep into what once seemed like an unbreakable brotherhood. Matt, the older sibling who had always protected Jeff, started to feel overshadowed as his younger brother received a push toward the Intercontinental Championship. The tension reached its peak when Matt shockingly attacked Jeff, a moment that left fans stunned. Some claimed Matt couldn't handle the crowd's love for Jeff, especially the way fans erupted every time Jeff tore off his shirt. Whether or not that was true, one thing was certain: envy had quietly poisoned their relationship. Though they eventually reconciled and reunited, rekindling fans' belief that the Hardy Boys had overcome their demons, tragedy struck again years later. In 2009, Matt once more turned on his brother, this time in a way that felt even more devastating. During the Royal Rumble, Matt smashed a steel chair into Jeff's head, costing him the WWE Championship. To make it worse, the victory went to Edge, Jeff's longtime nemesis. That brutal moment didn't just shock the audience, it proved a painful truth. In WWE, no bond is truly sacred. For Jeff, it was a wound that time could never fully heal. And for the fans, the Hardy Boys will forever stand as a symbol of both breathtaking triumph and heartbreaking betrayal. 3. Enzo Amore and Big Cass, when ego buried a promising tag team. If there were 2 words to describe Enzo Amore and Big Cass, they would be wasted potential. From their early days in NXT, the duo had fans roaring every time they stepped into the arena. Enzo, small in stature but loud and charismatic, had the gift of gab, always knowing how to hype up the crowd with his talk first, fight later attitude. Cass, tall, powerful, and composed, stood as the steel wall protecting his fast-talking partner. 2 seemingly opposite personalities blended perfectly, creating one of the most entertaining tag teams of their era. When they were promoted to the main roster, Enzo and Cass became an instant sensation. Every time Enzo grabbed the mic and shouted, "You can't teach that!" the audience echoed it in unison, turning their entrances into full-blown celebrations. Their chemistry, humor, and street-smart swagger made them the bright hope of WWE's tag team division. But everything began to crumble in the summer of 2017. The duo kept getting mysteriously attacked backstage, leaving everyone wondering who was behind it. Then came the shocking twist, revealed by Corey Graves. Big Cass himself was the culprit. He confessed to assaulting Enzo and faking his own injuries to divert suspicion. His reason? Cass had grown tired of carrying a loudmouthed partner who hogged the spotlight but rarely won matches. Their feud culminated at Great Balls of Fire, where Cass decisively defeated Enzo. Later, at SummerSlam, Cass faced Big Show while Enzo was humiliatingly locked inside a shark cage dangling above the ring, a moment that was equal parts absurd and heartbreaking. Not long after, Cass suffered a legitimate knee injury during a street fight, abruptly ending their storyline and any hopes of redemption. The breakup of Enzo and Cass remains one of WWE's most disappointing collapses. They had everything: talent, charisma, and crowd support, but ego and arrogance tore it all apart. What could have been a legendary tag team became yet another reminder of how wasted potential can ruin greatness. 4. The Rockers, when Brotherhood shattered through the glass door. The moment Shawn Michaels delivered a brutal superkick that sent Marty Jannetty crashing through the glass window of Brutus Beefcake's barbershop remains one of the most shocking and iconic breakups in WWE history. It wasn't just the end of a legendary tag team, it was the birth of one of the greatest superstars the industry would ever see. In the late 80s and early 90s, the Rockers embodied speed, chemistry, and youthful energy. Their high-flying offense and vibrant outfits made them instant fan favorites everywhere they performed. Together, they brought electricity to the ring like few others. But behind the colorful gear and synchronized teamwork, cracks began to form. Tensions first surfaced at Survivor Series 1991, when Jannetty accidentally caused Michaels to be eliminated. Though both tried to play it off, frustration lingered, especially after their crushing loss to the Legion of Doom. What had once been a tight partnership slowly turned into silent resentment. Then came January 12, 1992, on the talk show segment, The Barbershop. Fans expected reconciliation as the two shook hands and smiled, seemingly putting their issues behind them. But in the blink of an eye, everything changed. Michaels suddenly struck Jannetty with a vicious super kick, then heartlessly hurled him through the glass window behind them. That shocking betrayal marked the fall of the Rockers and the rise of the Heartbreak Kid. Shawn Michaels went on to become one of WWE's most celebrated icons, while Marty Jannetty, unfortunately, would forever be remembered as the guy who got thrown through the window. It was a cruel ending, but also a defining moment, one that forever altered the course of WWE history. 5. Edge and Christian, when friendship turned into bitter jealousy. Before becoming the rated-R superstar, with his arrogant swagger and ultimate opportunist persona, Edge was just a lean, bright-eyed young man with long blonde hair and a contagious smile. Back then, alongside his close friend Christian, he formed one of the greatest heel tag teams in WWE history. Coming from the same hometown, sharing childhood dreams, and climbing the ranks together, the two built their legacy through undeniable chemistry, comedic antics, and undeniable in-ring talent. With sharp wit and incredible skill, Edge and Christian became the face of tag team wrestling in the early 2000s. However, when the spotlight began to shift towards singles competition, cracks started to form in their bond. In 2001, Edge won the prestigious King of the Ring tournament, a defining moment that launched him as a rising solo star. Meanwhile, Christian, who had fought alongside him through countless victories, started to feel left behind. The spotlight that once shone on both of them now seemed to belong solely to Edge, leaving Christian overshadowed by the very friend he once called brother. Jealousy, frustration, and a desperate need for recognition consumed Christian. In a surge of raw emotion, he betrayed Edge, attacking him viciously and smashing the King of the Ring trophy, the very symbol of Edge's newfound success, over his head. It wasn't just an act of violence, it was a statement. A declaration that said, "I refuse to live in your shadow any longer." That betrayal marked the heartbreaking end of one of WWE's most beloved partnerships. The duo who once made fans laugh with their over-the-top antics were now bitter rivals. Though both men would go on to achieve remarkable careers in their own right, The image of Christian shattering that trophy against Edge remains one of the most unforgettable and painful moments in WWE history. It served as a powerful reminder that in the world of wrestling, sometimes success is the very thing that destroys friendship. 6. The Mega Powers. When friendship erupted into a firestorm of jealousy. Anyone who witnessed the events of February 1989 will never forget the night the Mega Powers exploded, one of the most dramatic and emotional breakups in WWE history. In the late 1980s, Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage stood as two of the biggest stars on the planet, symbols of power, fame, and loyalty. When they joined forces, fans believed that no team in the world could ever topple this unstoppable duo. But in the glitzy world of WWE, no alliance lasts forever, especially when jealousy begins to cloud judgment. At the center of this emotional storm was Miss Elizabeth, the graceful and beloved manager who unknowingly became the spark that ignited their downfall. The tension first surfaced at Survivor Series 1988, when Hogan appeared a bit too affectionate toward Elizabeth while celebrating their victory. Savage tried to mask his irritation with a forced smile, but deep down, a fire of suspicion had already been lit. Months later, during a crucial tag team match, Savage accidentally caused Elizabeth to be injured. When Hogan rushed to her aid, what seemed like a noble act instantly became the breaking point. Consumed by anger, Savage saw it as a betrayal, convinced that his closest ally had stolen not only the spotlight but also the woman he loved. Backstage after the match, Savage's rage erupted. He viciously attacked Hogan inside the medical room, unleashing months of pent-up fury. And in that moment, one of the greatest friendships in wrestling history was destroyed beyond repair. The implosion of the Mega Powers wasn't just a feud, it was a tragedy of trust, pride, and passion. What began as an unbreakable bond ended in flames, leaving behind one of WWE's most unforgettable and heartbreaking moments. 7. Strikeforce. When trust was betrayed in the ring. In the 1980s, Tito Santana and Rick Martel embodied the true spirit of teamwork, quick, coordinated, and full of energy. They didn't just win over fans with their impressive athleticism, but also with their determination and the infectious optimism they brought to every match. With their smooth coordination and exciting style, the duo quickly became one of WWE's most beloved tag teams of the era. Their big moment came in 1987 when Strikeforce defeated the Hart Foundation to capture the tag team championship. The crowd erupted in celebration, and it seemed like the beginning of a long, glorious reign. But, as often happens in WWE, the glory didn't last. 2 years later, at WrestleMania V, Strikeforce faced Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, two men known for their ruthless tactics. During a chaotic moment, Tito accidentally hit Martel with a flying forearm, knocking him to the mat. It was an honest mistake, but the aftermath changed everything. Instead of getting back up to fight, Rick Martel shockingly walked out, leaving his partner alone to suffer a crushing defeat. After the match, Martel showed no remorse. He openly blamed Tito, calling him a parasite living off my success. Not long after, Martel reinvented himself as the Model, a cold, arrogant, and calculating persona, the complete opposite of the loyal teammate fans once admired. That betrayal didn't just end Strikeforce, it broke the hearts of fans who believed in them. It was a painful reminder that in WWE, the deepest wounds don't always come from your enemies. They come from the people you once trusted the most. 8. Kane and X-Pac. Friendship consumed by the flames of betrayal. If you watched WWE in 1999, you'll remember the shocking moment when the monstrous Kane, long known for his darkness and isolation, teamed up with X-Pac, a rebellious member of D-Generation X. It was an unlikely pairing that somehow worked perfectly, quickly turning into one of the most popular tag teams of the era. X-Pac brought out a more human side of Kane, teaching him to trust and connect with the world around him. In return, Kane gave X-Pac something DX had never provided: raw power and unmatched dominance. Together, they struck the perfect balance between speed and strength, capturing the WWE Tag Team Championships twice and earning the love of the fans. But, as with so many great WWE stories, the good times didn't last. In a cruel twist, X-Pac betrayed Kane, turning his back on the one person who truly believed in him to reunite with DX. He didn't just stab Kane in the back inside the ring. He twisted the knife deeper by stealing his girlfriend, Tori. That act of betrayal ignited a fury inside Kane, reigniting the monster within. The humanity X-Pac once helped uncover was gone, replaced by rage and vengeance. As for X-Pac, his fate was far less glorious. While Kane went on to solidify his legacy as one of WWE's most enduring legends, X-Pac faded into obscurity, becoming a shadow of his former self. What began as an unlikely friendship that lit up WWE ended as a painful lesson. Betraying a monster always comes with a heavy price. 9. Evolution, when family turned into betrayers. Evolution wasn't just a faction, it was a symbol of dominance, luxury, and power in WWE's early 2000s. Led by Triple H, with Ric Flair as the legendary mentor and two rising stars, Batista and Randy Orton, representing the company's future, the group embodied every aspect of greatness. Yet in WWE's cutthroat world, no family stays united forever, and the shocking betrayal of Orton in 2004 proved it. That unforgettable moment is etched into wrestling history. After defeating Chris Benoit at SummerSlam, Randy Orton became the youngest world heavyweight champion in WWE history. Evolution joined him in the ring to celebrate his crowning achievement. Batista proudly hoisted Orton on his shoulders, while Triple H stood before them, applauding with a seemingly proud smile. Then, everything changed. Hunter's thumb turned downward. In an instant, Batista slammed Orton to the mat, and the group unleashed a merciless assault on their own protege. From that moment on, Evolution was no longer Orton's home. The legend killer became an outcast, forced to stand alone against the very men who had built him into a champion. WWE used the betrayal to push Orton as a babyface, but his journey was brutal. He suffered one crushing loss after another at the hands of Triple H, from Unforgiven to New Year's Revolution and Royal Rumble. For Orton, that era marked a painful transformation, the realization that in the world of evolution, loyalty only lasts until the thumb turns down. 10. The Dudley Boys, when one bad decision tore apart a legendary team. Tag team splits caused by the WWE draft are nothing new, but the case of the Dudley Boys in 2002 remains one of the most baffling decisions ever made. Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley weren't just another duo, they were one of the most iconic tag teams in WWE history. Their unexpected separation left fans scratching their heads, wondering, why break up something that worked so perfectly? Since debuting in 1999, the Dudley Boys had been inseparable, tough, fearless, and full of streetwise charisma. They dominated the tag team division, collecting championships across multiple promotions and turning their catchphrase, "Get the tables," into one of wrestling's most legendary chants. They were chaos personified, blending raw aggression with perfect chemistry. Yet, when WWE held its first ever brand split, Bubba was drafted to Raw while Devon was sent to SmackDown, a decision that felt like tearing apart a single soul. Once separated, both men struggled to find their footing. Bubba stayed true to his hardcore roots, while Devon took an unexpected turn, reinventing himself as Reverend Devon, a preaching heel accompanied by his enforcer, Deacon Batista. On paper, it sounded fresh. In reality, both storylines fizzled quickly. No titles, no momentum, and none of the magic that made them special as a team. Eventually, WWE realized its mistake and reunited the Dudley Boys before the end of 2002. The chemistry returned instantly, as if they had never been apart. Still, that brief and needless split stood as a reminder that not every experiment is worth the risk. Sometimes, perfection doesn't need fixing, it just needs to be left alone. 11. The Shield, when trust shattered with a single steel chair. Sierra, Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta. Those 6 familiar words once sent arenas into chaos every time they echoed through the speakers. But for Roman Reigns, they also carry the sting of betrayal, a haunting reminder of the night Seth Rollins swung a steel chair and shattered the Brotherhood of the Shield in 2014. Alongside Dean Ambrose, the trio had been the embodiment of strength, unity, and discipline. Since debuting at Survivor Series 2012, they tore through the WWE landscape, dismantling everyone from the Wyatt family to Evolution. With their coordinated attacks, cold intensity, and militaristic precision, the Shield became a phenomenon, redefining what it meant to be a dominant faction in modern wrestling. But every empire eventually pays the price of power. When Triple H extended his hand on behalf of the Authority, Rollins made his fateful choice, turning on his brothers with one brutal chair shot. That moment ended one of the most powerful alliances WWE had ever seen. Reigns and Ambrose stood in disbelief, the crowd fell silent, and wrestling history gained one of its most shocking heel turns ever. From that point on, the three went their separate ways. Rollins embraced his new identity as the architect, Reigns rose as the big dog, and Ambrose evolved into an unpredictable lone wolf. Each achieved greatness in their own right, even sharing a historic night at Money in the Bank 2016, when all three held the WWE Championship within hours of each other. Yet, despite their later reunions, something fundamental had been lost. The Shield may have reformed, but the trust broken that night, the bond destroyed by that single steel chair, was something that could never truly be rebuilt. 12. Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, Festival of Friendship, when brotherhood turned into betrayal. In 2016, WWE gave fans one of the most entertaining and unique partnerships in years. The alliance between Chris Jericho, the witty veteran, and Kevin Owens, the arrogant yet gifted Universal Champion. Together, they weren't just a dominant tag team. They were a comedic masterpiece, delivering hilarious segments and unforgettable moments week after week. From their big victories to the now iconic list of Jericho, where anyone who annoyed Jericho ended up being put on the list, the duo quickly became WWE's most beloved act at the time. Everything seemed perfect, until February 2017, when Raw hosted one of the most heartbreaking betrayals ever, the Festival of Friendship. With genuine pride and affection, Jericho organized an extravagant celebration to honor his friendship with Owens. The stage glimmered with bright lights, fireworks erupted, and bizarre golden statues stood as symbols of their bond. Jericho delivered an emotional speech, declaring that after all his years in the business, the most valuable thing he'd gained was his friendship with Kevin Owens. Owens smiled, appearing touched, and handed Jericho a small gift box. But when Jericho opened it, inside was a clipboard that read, "The List of KO," and the very first name on it was Chris Jericho. The arena fell silent. Within seconds, Owens' expression turned cold as he brutally attacked Jericho, dismantling the entire set and leaving his former friend beaten and broken. What began as a heartfelt tribute ended in devastation. The Festival of Friendship wasn't just a storyline twist, it was a masterclass in storytelling, a shocking reminder that in WWE, alliances are fragile, loyalty is fleeting, and even the strongest friendships can shatter in an instant. Each breakup left a scar on the hearts of fans and created some of the most unforgettable stories in WWE history. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any other amazing stories from Wrestling Sphere.